This fast-paced platform shooter really isn't just another futuristic shooter. Brought to you by Respawn Entertainment, the ex-guys that brought you the iconic Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2. After Modern Warfare 2, a big bust-up happened at Activision and Infinity Ward. Most of them left and went on to form Respawn Entertainment. So the pioneers of Call of Duty are now making this. Many gamers will even say that Modern Warfare 2 was the last good Call of Duty. You can instantly feel that it's made by the ex-COD developers when you play. It has that Call of Duty feel, but with a whole new layer added to it. Imagine the fast-paced Modern Warfare feel to the game and gunplay mixed with vehicles that fit into that core fast-paced formula, and then fast mirror's edge like parkour movement that allow you to traverse through the map. There is a real negative stigma around advanced movement systems in first-person shooters lately. I feel like the boost jumping advanced movement system in other shooters are quite half-baked and not exactly done properly. For example, modern CODs have wall running. Wall running in COD essentially is just a route, a specific path to take on a map. On many COD maps, there's 3 lanes, and one lane will be a wall you must run across to traverse in that lane or route. In Titanfall 2, wall running is like a weapon, a genuine movement mechanic. It's a pivotal way of playing. Wall running and the boost jumping is an element that genuinely condenses the action in multiplayer. Titans are huge mobile mechs which add a whole new layer to that fast-paced action formula that Zampella and Co created. The maps are excellently designed and make sense for both Titan and Pilot, which is infantry on foot. This means that naturally the maps will be larger in size. The maps are big, but because of the way buildings and objects are placed and how you can use them to glide across the map via wall running and boost jumping, the large maps are condensed. You never run around feeling like there is nothing going on. There is constant action. Maps have so much verticality, and it's so easy to glide across buildings and boost onto higher points of the maps. It's so seamless, and the whole movement system just feels natural and fluid, and so does the action. Titans are really fun to use once you learn how they work and have genuine strategy and depth. They are powerful but balanced, and pilots still have a chance of taking down Titans when caught off guard. My favourite multiplayer mode, Attrition, is sort of like a MOBA styled match. AI is scattered around the map for you to kill. You will earn points for your team for killing them, just like you would for killing actual real players. Obviously killing AI earns you less points, but it varies depending on the type of AI opponent you kill. The multiplayer in this feels so fresh and different, but has that familiar feel of the old Infinity Ward games with the gunplay. The most important thing about this game is that it's extremely fun. It's not perfect though. I think the presentations of the game is poor. That is a bit of a problem because it doesn't charm you into wanting to play the game. The game doesn't look all that interesting in my opinion until you actually play the game and realise how fun it is. I think the art design is generic and the graphics are not that great, and the user interface such as the menu is generic and dull. You can now unlock new camos by completing challenges. That's cool and all, except the camos are ugly and most of the camos look the same. The cosmetic things on this game, on the most part, are poor. There doesn't appear to be any leaderboards or any way to check out people's stats. Not a big deal to me, but it may be to some. I will say that it's a little bit of a shame that your rank isn't displayed beside your name and others' name. There is also no emblem for your rank, and it's just another little aesthetic that's poorly done in my opinion.
When ready. Double killer, pilot.
The campaign is a real treat, and something I really didn't expect to be this good. Titanfall 1 didn't even have a campaign, so when I found out Titanfall 2 would have a campaign, I assumed it would just be a little afterthought thrown into the game. It's far from that. The campaign is fantastic. Titanfall 2's campaign is quite possibly the most creative, unique FPS campaigns I have ever played. The fluid gameplay I was talking about with the multiplayer is taken to a whole new level in the campaign. There's many moments where this first person shooter turns into a platformer. There'll be moving platforms in an industrial factory. There'll be different walls and things to jump around in a power plant. What makes the experience so different is that at times the campaign is a shooter, at times it's a platformer, and at other times it's both. Think of Mirror's Edge and Mario meets Call of Duty. Every single level is completely different to the other. My favourite level and the most creative level, possibly one of the most creative FPS missions I've ever played, is the time travel mission. You can pick up a time travel device, you visit this old science facility. In the past, it was this clean, well-built institution. In the present, it's this burned down, deserted remains of a place. You'll have to wall run and flick between the past and present to jump to different platforms. There'll be flames and rubble in the way of a spot as you're wall running in the present, so you'll have to quickly flick to the past, but then there'll be electricity in the way, so then you'll have to flick back to the present. The game constantly presents you with little platforming puzzles, and it's done in such a genuinely creative way that I have never seen in a shooter before. The story is the real letdown here, however. If the story was great, the campaign would be an absolute masterpiece and something to talk about for generations. The gameplay in the campaign is a masterpiece, but in order for a campaign to have true impact, it needs story. You find yourself becoming a pilot of BT, a Titan who you form a relationship with. The relationship you have between your Titan and yourself very much reminds me of the Transformers films. Titan battles also remind me of Transformers, which is awesome. BT is the real star of the campaign. I grew very fond of my Titan companion, and he is a great character. The banter and conversations you have with your Titan companion is amusing, and the big moments in the campaign with BT is compelling.
Pilot, exercise caution.
You can say that again.
Pilot, exercise caution.
The story is incredibly weak outside of that. There's no real explanation on why you are fighting in the war, what is the war about, and where you're even fighting. I've heard that there's more ways to learn about the story, but the campaign makes no real effort in explaining the Titanfall universe. Very much like your typical Call of Duty campaign, you feel nothing when characters die and when you kill characters. There's no real character believability there apart from BT. The lack of story holds back the campaign from being something truly spectacular. Thankfully though, the gameplay is 100% where this game shines. The campaign has the most creative gameplay and level designs I've ever seen in the shooter. The multiplayer gameplay is hectic, competitive, different, and a huge blast to play. This game isn't perfect, but it's an incredibly fun game and definitely one of the best games I've played in 2016.